What's up, my friends? It is Danny Gallows, of course, who do you think it was, and welcome back to another very musical vlog. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about why I write almost exclusively with samples. And you know, to be clear, I still compose with live instruments all the time: guitar, piano, bass, all kinds of sound effects. I have my controller when I can't find things that I want, so I can create them myself. But you know, writing samples is just so fun, man. I have so much fun writing with samples, and it all started in the Navy when I was overseas in Dubai many years ago. I got my first Apple laptop, and Apple of course has GarageBand built into it. And if you don't have any live instruments, all they have is samples to play around with. So I started messing around with samples, just, you know, copy and pasting samples, you know, with beats and stuff like that, and kind of crafting songs. And that was my introduction to electronic music and to writing with samples, and I just fell in love with that process. And over time, I started to slowly figure out, okay, wait a minute, I have this beat. But then I can take this beat and I can take this little piece of piano that I like from over here, and I can take this little synth that I like from over here, and I can chop and rearrange these little flute parts over here that I like. And I really like this string section, so I'm going to take this piece and repeat it over and over and over again. And then if I layer this here and layer this here and bring this piece up here and fit this here and fit this there and then play it, then I can create this amazing new composition. Right? If you just rearrange the samples in specific ways, you create your own sounds. You create new samples out of the things that you've kind of pieced together. And it was like, wow, an entire new world of songwriting and composition just opened up before my eyes. Because many people over the years have often asked, you know, how I write my songs. Everybody is always interested in how I create my own unique sound. And the thing is, you know, it's just years and years and years of practicing with rearranging samples, right? And I think that it should be more appreciated, because it is an art form, man, trying to rearrange samples. When you get up into the higher levels, like the black belt levels of sampling, where I like to consider myself now, I'm not sure if I'm there, but I like to consider myself kind of, you know, a higher level sampler for sure. But when you get up into the upper levels, man, you know, your writing becomes so precise and so surgical that it really is an art form. It's almost like, you know, playing chess with a jigsaw puzzle or something like that. You have to take these little tiny pieces of samples and then just puzzle piece them and Frankenstein them back together in specific forms and shapes and patterns and structures, and sometimes it can take an entire week to get everything right. I mean, what you see behind me here on the computer screen, I mean, that's just like the start of a song. That's like me working on a song for like 5 minutes. When that's done, it'll look more like this. You can see how exact and how precise everything is. Those little tiny samples pieced together in very specific, meticulous patterns to make brand new melodies. It takes a lot of willpower and determination and skill and talent, and it is absolutely 110% an art form. The way I look at it is, you know, it's a lot like cooking, right? Nobody appreciates the raw ingredients of anything. They only appreciate what the chef makes, right? So if you're making a pizza, nobody appreciates raw dough and, you know, tomato paste and tomatoes and cheese and pepperoni and, you know, seasoning and herbs and stuff like that. It's only when the chef has mixed everything together and actually constructed and baked a pizza, then it is appreciated as a delicious food, right? It's the exact same way with writing music with samples. The samples themselves are the raw ingredients, and as an artist, it's your responsibility to chop those things up, mix them together, add your seasoning in, reposition them, puzzle piece them, Frankenstein them back together into your own music, and then it is appreciated as this beautiful, delicious, amazing dish, right? I mean, seriously, guys, like 75% of what I write with when I'm not recording with live instruments comes directly from my audio workstation. It's just the samples on my audio workstation. But the key is to not copy and paste. A lot of artists, right, will just like, copy and paste a beat, copy and paste sample, copy and paste another sample, and then they'll produce that, mix that down into a song, and try to get themselves famous without putting any work or passion into it. The key is that you have to take just tiny little pieces of samples that you like, and then hundreds of them, hundreds of little samples, hundreds of little sounds and rhythms and textures and atmospheres and stuff like that, and then you put all those together into a brand new song. You have to be creative with it. You have to take your samples and you have to actually cook with them, right? And that's the great part about samples, is that a lot of these samples on here, actually all of them on these audio workstations, are done by other DJs and other musicians and other artists. So it's a lot like collaborating too, because these artists have given these audio workstations these awesome samples, these amazing samples that probably otherwise wouldn't be used, right? Because they're just kind of there in case you want to use them if you want to add an extra sound. But man, I'm telling you, some of these DJs and artists who provide these samples, man, there's a whole world there to open up. I mean, they're providing some amazing work. And so what you get to do is you get to take those samples and you get to craft them into your own samples, mold them into your own samples. So it's a lot like collaborating with other artists, because all of the samples and all the sounds aren't just coming from you. So it's, a bunch of different minds coming together. A lot of these samples are written by all different kinds of artists, right? 10 or 20 different artists. So you're getting to collaborate with all these different artists just by them providing their samples. You're getting to collaborate with all of these different artists and put all those minds together into one song. And I don't know, there's something cool about that. So my friends, that's my logic anyway on why I write with samples, but now comes the best part of the video where I turn it over to all of you. So do you guys share the same thoughts and beliefs? Do you guys write with samples too? Or do you write with live instruments? Or are you like me, do you write with a mix but mostly samples, or mostly live instruments and some samples? I'd love to hear from you guys. Leave all of your thoughts and opinions down below in the great white void. And as always, until next we meet, take care, and I'll see you guys back here for the next video very soon. Now it's time for me to go eat some Reese's Puffs. Peace.